Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary homies, Sttaw Vegeta saying what is good to all my fellow pirates, and today we are going to be taking a look at the post-Wano bounties, or at least predicting as best we can, given the feats that we've seen in Wano. Without beating around the bush, we're gonna hop right on into it, and don't forget to hit that thumbs up if you enjoy the video, and leave a comment down below with what you think bounties will look like after Wano. To start things off, we have everybody's favorite moss-headed vice captain, that would be Zoro, whose bounty currently stands at 320 million. However, I think after Wano, it's going to skyrocket to an astounding 1,483 million. This will be for defeating King, as well as leaving a cut on Kaido / participating in the battle against the Yonkos. King's current bounty stands at 1.39 billion, and having discovered his Conqueror's Haki, landing a successful cut on Kaido, these are no small feats, so he'll get a significant bump above what King's bounty was. Next up, we have Sanji, whose current bounty stands at 330 million, and I think after this, his as well will skyrocket to 1,370 million. This would be for defeating Queen, whose current bounty is 1.32 billion. I don't think that this is a small feat, however, I have seen a lot of people try to put this on equal scaling with Zoro. Simply put, he did not participate in the battle against the Yonkos, and so I don't feel as though his bounty will be on equal footing with Zoro. Next up, we have a bit of a joined entry in Nami and Usopp, given that they were able to take out some of the lower Tobiropi together in Ulti and Page 1. Ulti's bounty standed at 400 million, and Page 1's bounty was the lowest of the Tobiropi at 290 million. So it would be, I guess, pretty logical to me to see them jump up just slightly higher than these two low bountied enemies. Nami going from 66 million to 295 million, barely beating out Page 1, and Usopp going from 200 million to 405 million, just barely beating out Ulti. I also think that the government might mistake Tama's influence over the gifters for maybe God Usopp, coming in and doing something crazy, having some influence over the Beast Pirates and swaying the tide of battle. This would just be something funny to see, and no, I'm not the first person to think of this. I've seen this theory floating around quite a lot on the internet, specifically Twitter. Next up, we have my best friend's favorite character in all of One Piece, and rightfully so, because he's very much adorable, as well as such a genius. We have Cotton Candy Chopper, whose current bounty stands at 100 berry, and that is it. Now, I think Chopper's is going to be rather odd to predict. I think this can go one of two ways. The first way is that it can just double and we go with the same gimmick that we've gotten, that he's the pet of the Straw Hats. It goes from 100 to 200 now, since the Straw Hats are a far more valuable target, and that's that. Or we could go the route where he's finally recognized as a true doctor and being and threat to the world government, potentially being recognized for curing the Ice Oni virus, but we'll probably just see him still being treated as the pet of the Straw Hats, so I'm going to comfortably stick with 200 as my prediction. Next up, we have Cyborg Frankie, who isn't all that debatable, for being honest, since his feat is pretty straightforward. He was able to take out Sasaki, who had a bounty of 472 million. Frankie's current bounty stands at 94 million, and I think this is going to jump up to 482 million, just a little bit over where Sasaki was. Again, don't really think there's much to consider here. This is a pretty straightforward feat, and to put him above what Sasaki was, I think is very reasonable. Next, we have another joint entry, and this is one that I'm very excited to talk about, as they are my two very favorite Straw Hats. That is going to be Brook and Robin for the defeat of Black Maria, who had a bounty of 480 million. Brook's current bounty stands at 83 million, and so I think it'll jump up to somewhere around 330 million. Having assisted Robin and playing more of a supportive role in the fight, I think it's respectable to say that his bounty will still be significantly lower than where Black Maria's was. Next up, for Robin, I do think her bounty is going to absolutely skyrocket, given not just the defeat over Black Maria, however, her ability to read the poneglyphs, and the desire the world government already has to capture her. Let's not forget the fact that they called a buster call on Ohara just for having the information that she currently possesses. So I believe that her bounty is going to jump up from the measly 130 million that it's currently at to 1,115 million. I think this is going to be one of the highest bounties on the Straw Hat, given that her ability to read the poneglyphs is considered to be one of the deadliest by the world government. Next up, we have former Warlord of the Sea, Jinbei, who will be receiving his very first Straw Hat bounty. His current bounty stands at 438 million, and I do think this is going to jump up around 742 million, given that he defeated the former CP9 agent Who's Who, whose bounty stood at 546 million. But I think where this significant increase is truly going to come from will be the fact that him and Raizo were able to put out the fires of Onegaishimasu. These fires would have killed many high-bountied pirates had they not been put out, and so I think the world government will put a significant value on this feat. Next up, we have Yamato, who has not been 100% confirmed to be a Straw Hat, but I'm pretty confident that we will be seeing them join us on the rest of the Straw Hat journey. Currently, their bounty stands at 0, having been locked up on Onegaishimasu their whole life. However, I believe that they're going to get quite a high one. Having stood toe-to-toe with and being the son of Kaido, I think Yamato's bounty will come in at a whopping 800 million. We know that Edward Weevil received a 400 million berry bounty, as well as Shibukai status, simply for being the supposed son of Whitebeard. Yamato is confirmed to be the son of Kaido, is an Oni, which we know were experimented upon directly while Kaido was in prison, and was able to go toe-to-toe with Kaido himself while Luffy was recovering, all of which I think are going to be very valuable in the eyes of the world government, putting them once again at this significantly high bounty of 800 million. Next up, we have Killer, who also feels like he's going to be a bit of a wild card and somewhat hard to place. His current bounty stands at 200 million, which honestly seems kind of low given his status in the worst generation as well as being the first in command of the Kid Pirates. I think his new bounty is going to be around 500 million. This is given that he defeated Hawkins, which isn't necessarily a crazy feat, he's really just another member of the worst generation, but having taken place in the battle against Kaido and Big Mom is no small feat, though his participation didn't really do too much. He didn't really have any significant or impressionable damage on either of them. But again, the fact that he partook in this and is going to be the first mate of somebody who is a candidate to be a Yonko, I think will raise his bounty to at least 500 million, if not more. Speaking of the Kid Pirates, next up we have the very captain himself, Eustace Captain Kidd, whose current bounty only stands at 470 million, which once again seems rather low given his status among the worst generation. I think that his new bounty will come to be 3.5 billion, which I know is a huge increase, but given the fact that he was able to defeat Big Mom alongside Law and participated in the battle against Kaido, dealing significant blows to him, I do think that this is going to matter, and he's going to see one of the largest increases in bounty when it comes to post-Wano. Next up, we have another one of my favorites, the Surgeon of Death Trafalgar Law, whose bounty currently stands at only 500 million, which once again just feels a little too low for who he is. I think this is going to be one of those huge increases as well, going up to 3.55 billion berry, which is going to just barely edge out Kid, once again for having partake in the battle against Kaido and Big Mom, and even landing the final blow on Big Mom. When it comes to the two of them, I think that it is going to be Law who just barely edges out in terms of bounty, and with the announcement of new Yonkos, if only one of them were to make the cut, I do believe that Law is going to be the one to make it, given once again his landing of the final blow, as well as his association and all of the things he's done with Luffy up until now. And last but not least, we have the star of the show himself, Monkey D. Luffy. And the big question here is, will his bounty be higher than that of Goldie Rogers having finished this event? His current bounty stands at 1.5 billion. I'm not necessarily sure he's going to cross the threshold of Goldie Rogers just yet, but I do think he's going to come close. Personally, I think his bounty is going to come at 5.5 billion. Now possessing the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika and taking down Kaido, I think that this will be enough in the world government's eyes to shoot him to one of the very highest bounties, if not the highest bounty in the pirating world. But I'm not 100% sure that this feat is going to be above what Garp and Roger did at God Valley, or even having found Laugh Tale. So yes, I'm not quite sure that Luffy deserves to have his bounty higher than Roger just yet, although I would not be disappointed if it were to be higher. I just don't necessarily think we're there just yet. But anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments, what you think bounties are going to look like post Wano, and I'm certainly excited for the final saga to begin, despite us having to wait a month for it to start. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out. Have a great rest of your day.